Yo, what's up, warriors? My name is Kita, and this is the Psychopath Exposure Show. Today, I'm very happy to be here with my good friend Brian. Why? Because Brian also went through narcissistic abuse, like all of us. You wouldn't believe it if you knew the type of guy this dude was. Brian and I go back to college. Okay, Brian and I go back to college a long time ago. And none of us knew what the hell a psychopath or a narcissist was, especially not a narcissist. That's not something that people would talk about back then. But I want to give you guys a short introduction and just let Brian take the floor because he has an incredible story. Not only was he married to a narcissist for, I think, 7 years, but
10.
It was 10?
It was 10.
It felt like 100, I'm sure. But it's the way he turned his life around and the accomplishments that this dude has conquered after that is really inspiring. And I hope it gives all of you guys some hope that no matter what you're going through, you'll forever be changed, but your life is going to get so much better if you do the work to recover. And obviously, you get rid of these toxic predators. Block them out of your life forever. So I met Brian in college, like I said. We used to goof around, good old days. And after we graduated, I think we lost contact for like 7 or 8 years, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, that's when I got married to my narcissist around that time, and lost myself in the whole relationship, and we reconnected a few years later. And you were telling your girlfriend at the time that oh my God, I can't wait for you to meet Brian. He's so funny. You're gonna laugh your ass off. He's great. We used to joke around so much in class. And then you finally met me. You're just like, what the fuck? Like,
guys,
what the hell? Who is this guy?
This guy was the funniest. This is one of the funniest guys I've ever met. I mean, we used to have some classic moments in class. Like we would like literally have to get under the desk to laugh and not get kicked out of class. This guy, he had a punchline for everything. And they were just perfectly on point. This guy was funny shit. He's not one of those that tries to be funny. He was just funny. Like him and I clicked the first time. We met at a party, and I wasn't into partying, or I've never been into partying really. So I was like being antisocial in a room playing guitar. And this motherfucker goes in there. He plays guitar too. So we started playing, we started singing, and we bonded. And I was like, man, I never thought that because you looked like some raver or some super fucking, this motherfucker's tall as fuck, right? So I never thought that him and I would click. And after that party, like we became like really close. So yeah, like you said, after we lost contact, through a mutual friend, we reconnected, and I was going to go visit, I was going to go travel to New York with my girlfriend at the time. And I was so excited to see this guy, and I was just bigging him up. I was like, oh my God, this guy's so funny. Watch, you're going to be in tears the entire time. And it's like, I remember we were hanging out, we were walking around. It was like winter, there were all these Elmos dressed out there, and it's like everything you said was like forced. It wasn't funny. It was like forced punchlines. Like your timing was off. Everything about it was off. And my girlfriend was like, I thought you said this guy was funny. I was like, yeah, he was. I don't know who the fuck he is anymore. Like, but whatever. You think people grow up and they change, right? So I never thought about it, but years went by. I mean, you were married during all this time. Eventually, I met his wife, and my girlfriend didn't like her from the beginning. She didn't like her. She thought she was very pretentious and plastic and fake. There was something about her that she just never liked. I didn't care for her either. And I'll never forget when we had dinner. We went to have dinner at an Argentinian steakhouse, and she was just
regulating. Was it Indian?
It was.
I thought it was Indian. What does it matter?
No, it was an Argentinian place. I think it was in Miami.
Okay.
I think we were all in Miami at the time, and I just noticed this. Like she had you under control. Like whatever you would say, she would check you. Whatever you were ordering, everything. I was like, this ain't Brian. This is not Brian. And when I left that restaurant, this is not my friend. Who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? And long story short, because I tend to rant. You guys love it though. I didn't understand why you wouldn't shut up about it. Why you wouldn't just move on? Why wouldn't you like put your foot down and take control of the situation? It made no sense. And if you guys know anything about narcissistic abuse, your friends never understand what you're going through. Your family don't get it, and they shun you. So without further ado, I'm going to do my best to shut the fuck up and let you tell your story, because it really is an incredible story.
Oh man, just the introduction is like it's giving me sweaty palms, giving me anxiety, because it's like, this happened such a long time ago, and so much has happened in between now and then. It's like, I've always had an expression that shit happens when you do shit. If you're sitting around derping all the time, you're just going to be sitting in your own shit. So, all right. I mean, I don't want to get too much into details of the marriage, but it was a long time. It was 10 years, and my reality was distorted when I was with her. I thought that I lived very much by the happy wife, happy life mantra, and the thing is, I could never make her happy. The goalposts would always move. I thought that if we got an apartment, that she'd be happy. Nope. I thought that if we got a house, she'd be happy. Nope. Thought that if she got a couple of dogs, she'd be happy. Nope. Helped her get into a decent paying job, coached her into a corporate position, and it's just like, nothing that I did was ever good enough. And you know what? The thing with me is that I always connected on an intimate level. I'm Scorpio. So it's like, you take away sex with me and I'm like, I got nothing. And it got to the point where I was like literally asking to have sex with my wife on a daily basis. And it was like, no, I'm not in the mood. It's Wednesday, or no, not tonight. And it's just, I don't know. And I got to the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to explode. So, I mean, there's one time I remember I went into the office, and I, had to take care of some business, and she busts in. She's like, oh my God, you're disgusting. And I was just like, I just threw my hands up. I was like, I just didn't know what to do anymore. But the thing is, once I got out, like, I don't want to go too much into detail, like I said, about the marriage and whatnot, but
let me chime in real quick, because we got some trolls that don't know what the hell narcissistic abuse is, and
Sure.
they think that men who complain that they don't get sex in the relationship and all this bullshit. Shut the fuck up, you pussy ass trolls. First of all, okay, when you're dealing with a narcissist, they withhold sex as a form of control and torture, and it's part of their game. It's part of their manipulation to weaken you, and once again to torture you and utterly destroy you. So don't misinterpret the fact that Brian over here is talking about the withholding of the sex thing like it was a big thing. It's a huge thing, okay? Because it's not normal. It's not normal, okay? And that's why you guys are part of this community, because the same thing's happening to you. It's not superficial like you dumbass trolls think. If only people that have been through this shit understand the severity of this type of torture. So, and Brian used to be complaining about this sex shit over chat for years. And I was like,
it was different, man. It was like, it wasn't just my
I didn't understand
girlfriend.
it at the time.
It was my wife. It's like, yeah. We're young. We're very young. We're married. Like it's what you're supposed to do when you're married, and supposedly things are going well with each other. And it's just like, but that was just one form of manipulation that I went through. It's just like, everything was under control. Like, I was constantly trying to make her happy. And you know what? I ended up losing myself in the process. I stopped playing guitar because she didn't like it. I stopped hanging out with my friends. She turned me against my own mother because of some little argument or something like that. And she was like, Brian, you need to stick up for your wife. I'm your wife. I don't care who it is, but you need to be on my team in any kind of conflict. And I was just like, but man, it was a double standard too, because she would gang up on me with her friends. And like, after a certain point, it's just like, my self-esteem was in the toilet. Mm-hmm. It was just, by the end of it, she started hanging out with a whole fitness crowd, and I'm 99.999% sure that she was cheating on me with one of her trainers. She would disappear for hours at a time, not checking her phone or not answering, and then she'd just come back and be like, "Ew, what? I was out." And no, I was doing shit that was totally out of character. I mean, I was drinking a lot. And she tried to use that against me, saying, "Well, you're the one that has a drinking problem here. It's all you. You're the reason that I don't want to be with you, or I don't want to have sex with you." It's like, all right, so I quit drinking. You think anything changed? No, nothing changed. There was nothing that I could do. She would give me a list of things that I needed to work on for myself, and I did them all. And I did them all with us in mind, and still there was nothing changed from that.
I remember you told me once that she said, if you take the trash out, maybe we'll have sex tonight, or some ridiculous shit like that. I vividly remember that, and I thought it was the craziest thing I had ever heard. And
you think I took the trash out? I took the trash out for weeks after.
I'm sure you should have taken the real trash out, which is that dumb bitch.
Yeah, well. Yeah, bro, we didn't even know what narcissists were back then. I just thought I had a difficult wife.
Yep.
I just thought that she was just, only child syndrome, whatever, I'm going to say it. That she was used to she was brought up a certain way, and that's how she was used to being treated. So I treated her like my princess, and,
Wait a second. How was she at the beginning of the marriage, or during the dating days before you guys got married?
So here's the thing. We got married. It was kind of forced. We were together, and she's from a different country. So I married her we wanted to stay together, and married her for green card purposes.
If I had a nickel for
every time.
For every time someone in a narcissistic abusive relationship has married someone for a green card or for some shit like that.
Yeah, the thing is, we were together though, but I realize now that she just really wanted to be in this country. And were
you guys having sex? Was there intimacy? Was there fun?
Yeah, it seemed like it was fun. It seemed like when I worked for it, I got rewarded, and it was great while it was great for a little while. But it's like all this shit started going downhill once she was in the country and started creating her own life, and didn't really want to have one with me. She broke up with me years before we finally got divorced. Just didn't tell me. We're just living in the same house, sharing bills, remodeling, and doing work in the house. And
oh yeah,
I don't know, man. It was just I was fucking miserable for years. And like after I got out and started working on myself and started doing the things that I'm doing now, that things finally turned around. And I look back and I was just like, shit, if I knew my life was going to be this good, I would have gotten rid of her years ago.
Yeah, hindsight, right? It's 2020.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just that's the one resentment that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to let go very easily. It's the time lost. It's the 10 years that I spent, the 10 years of my 20s of being in my prime, and
But remember, it wasn't your fault, man. You didn't know this, and
neither did you.
Yeah. And before I forget, like it's funny how let's tell them how we discovered this whole narcissist shit. So he got a divorce. I remember you got a divorce, and like 4 years later, I started dating a new girl, which was the psychopath in my life.
But wait, you gotta remember the part where I was fucking driving you insane with like, why is my life so crazy? How come I can't get this shit out of my head? Because when we divorced, she had already moved to wherever she moved to with her now husband.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he moved in with you a week after you moved out. That this just doesn't happen like that. You had to have been cheating on me while you were with me.
Of course.
Like, it's just, but Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
it's
no, like
interesting.
after I got my life back, I didn't know what to do with it
Yeah.
because my reality was so skewed of being in a toxic relationship for such a long time that I didn't know which way was what. I didn't know what was up. Like, so for 4 years, I was calling up Kita and being like, dude, how can she freaking move out like this? How can this dude already be in her life? Like, why can't I stop thinking about her? Why can't I stop stalking her Facebook? Like, what's going on? Like, I had my life back, but it was just like a bowl of spaghetti that I was trying to unravel. And you know, this went on for 4 years, and I was just like, you know, just going through the motions of trying to start my life back over. I found a new job. I moved to New York. I was commuting into the city. I eventually moved into the city, and it was still bugging me. So I was like, you know what? I gotta date. But it's like anybody that I dated, I would have that haunting of all girls are like my ex-wife. If I do this, then this is going to happen. Or she's the only reason that she's doing something nice to me for me right now is because she wants to use that as ammo later. Like, oh yeah, hey, remember that time that, like, I was always feeling manipulated and I was always feeling uneasy. The only times I was ever feeling comfortable is when I was alone and nobody could hurt me. But yeah, fast forward 4 years, Kita got into his relationship with his psychopath. And by that point, I had thought that I had already moved on from my ex-wife. But sure enough, the issues that he was telling me about, I was just like, dude, that sounds exactly like my ex. Like, it's almost like they had a freaking playbook and they all do the same things in that order. It's like it's not human. It's like it's very robotic. But yeah, so knowing how Kita is, he was going insane, and I was just like, oh man. Well, I was like, bro, like the dick that I am, I was like, bro, now you know how it feels. This is what I was going through for the past freaking 4 years, and now it's all coming back up. But you know, he did the work that I did, and started doing crazy research, and before you know it, he sends me a book, and what's it called, Psychopath Free.
Yeah.
And he's like, read this and then we'll talk. I was like, all right. I read it and I felt like the dude was talking to me. It's like, dude, how did you know? How did you freaking know? And that's when, you know, Kita went on this whole path of giving back to people that have gone through this kind of abuse. So it's very commendable. I kind of wish that I did the homework too. I probably would have gotten out of the funk that I was in much sooner. But you know what? Here we are, and it's good that we can kind of reach out to people that have gone through similar issues. So
yeah, man. Look, I'm a firm believer that we're here because of what we went through. So if I were to tell you, reverse engineer how we got here, or like track, like in a map, some sort of a map, how do you get from then to where we are now? And the only way that you can travel to where we are now is by going through that path. That's the only way. If you were to type it on Google Maps, right, that would be the only path to arrive here. There's no possible way we could be here right now if we didn't go through that, because had we done something else, we would have been in a different place, right? So yeah, it sucks that we lost that time. It sucks that we had to endure that suffering, but that in and of itself inspired us to do the things that we've done and to be here and to be living the life that we're living now, because we would not have evolved the same. It's just impossible. It took that to get here. And I remember how crazy you sounded to me, like for those 4 years. I had never seen you that crazy. Even when you were married and you were like in a decline, you weren't crazy. You were just annoying, right? Because you didn't understand why your wife was that way. But after the divorce, I remember, again, dismissing you. I was like, dude, you got divorced 4 years ago. Shut the fuck
get
up
over
already.
it.
Get over it. That's what everybody tells you. Get over it, right? I was one of those fucking
how How?
I was one of those jerks too, because when you're ignorant, you're fucking ignorant, you know, and I didn't know it. I just saw you get crazier and crazier and crazier. And the reason for that, and for the people at home watching this, because I know you're going through the same thing, that craziness is because you do not have a concrete answer of what happened to you. Your brain doesn't understand, right? It doesn't understand beyond a reasonable fucking doubt what exactly happened. It's like you're getting unstable information. So the brain constantly keeps going in a loop. And that instability, that vicious cycle just drives you insane. It promotes the PTSD that you have. It promotes that anxiety. Everything is a trigger. And then once you get the answers, you're able to exhale. You're able to exhale for the first time. And I think obviously what happened with me when I got my answers, I remember I was able to take a full deep breath again. And then Brian at the time was dismissing me. He was like, oh, now you know how it feels, motherfucker. Like that's what I went through, blah, 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 blah. And then I started becoming obsessed, and I was doing background checks, all this crazy shit. And I remember him telling me, dude, stop. You sound like a crazy person, until I figured it out. Because I won't stop until I figure shit out, right? I just won't let it go. And that book, let me tell you, that book just tells everybody's story, you know, because psychopaths all follow the same pattern. And from then on, we both started recovering and we started turning our life around. But obviously Brian's story is incredible, because I'm just gonna, spoiler alert, he became freaking bodybuilding champion like twice. And these are things that man, people who are not going through narcissistic abuse sometimes can't even achieve, and they're competing, they're training forever. And this guy, you know, at a much later age, you know, obviously didn't pull it off in his 20s, has done it twice, and he's still keeping it up, amongst other things that he's accomplished after that. But it took doing the work, it took getting those answers, and just making a commitment to himself, to, you know, higher power, just to drawing that line, drawing that line in the sand that is like, from this moment on, everything I do is going to serve me, and I'm going to leave that beast behind me, right? Instead of continuing trying to get a closure that you'll never get, because you'll never get closure from these motherfuckers. You'll never get closure. And that's why I always tell you guys, like, once you know what you're dealing with, you got to get the fuck out of Dodge right away, because it's never going to get better. It's never going to get better. But
the longer you stay in, it's like the damage gets compounded too. I still get little glimpses here and there, but the thing is, I've done so much shit over oh my God, it's been almost freaking, what year is this? Well, I've done so much shit in the last.
I stopped counting after 2020. I don't know. I stopped counting.
I've done so much shit in the last 11 years that it's just like, no, that's not my life anymore. That's not me. It's just like, shut the fuck up. Like that voice it's gone. Yeah. I beat the shit out of it out of my head, and it's gone. But you know, it's
So what steps did you take once you knew and you got those answers? Obviously, the anxiety didn't just go away. The memories didn't go away. The anger didn't go away. If anything, the anger probably resurfaced, because now you knew that you had been married to a fucking Terminator. What steps did you start implementing into your life that not only helped you heal, but also conquer the incredible things that you've been doing for the past few years?
Geez, man, it's been a process, but the thing is that I have to stick to is a plan. And, you know, that my plan is what's gotten me through just about everything, just to where I am today. It's like, if you stay stagnant, you're just going to get consumed in your thoughts. And when you get consumed in your thoughts, it's just a roller coaster, and you just end up doing things that you shouldn't be doing, freaking picking up addictions, drinking too much, partying, just trying to stifle the shit that you've been trying to push down. And it doesn't work. You have to do things that put a spotlight on the damage that's been done to you. You know, I needed to do the things that defined me after my divorce. First thing was buy a motorcycle. I always wanted to buy a bike, so that was my divorce present, but it ended up becoming so much more than that, because with the bike came the learning and then the schooling, and then like learning on how to work on it. But I was always doing something to keep my mind off of it, to keep my mind off of this stuff. And it was, I also started getting into bodybuilding right after my divorce. Mostly because my self-esteem was so freaking pushed down into the toilet that I needed some kind of acceptance from somewhere. I needed a feeling of, I needed to feel like I fit in somewhere. And I thought that, you could just lift a couple of things and get on stage, and that was it. And I was sorely mistaken. Once I got on stage and failed, I realized that I actually needed to put a workout plan together and actually do a bulking diet and a cutting diet and getting cardio in. And it evolved more and more. I was doing it for a little while, and then I met a girl in New York, and she was very much part of the party scene. And, I decided to go down that route again. And I put my bodybuilding career on hold and stopped working on myself. And relationship didn't last. And, bless her heart, we're still friends today. She's I wouldn't say she's like my best friend, but she's not a monster. But things didn't work out. And once I got out of that, I realized that, I need to go back to my plan. I need to compartmentalize the things that matter to me. Fitness matters to me. My family matters to me. My friends, my dog at the time. I had another dog at the time, and my job. And those are the things that I needed to put focus on. And a lot of it most of it was filling my mind up with self-help books and meditation, and just how to live my life a little bit better. Instead of just listening to my own thoughts run amok in my head, I was using my time commuting into the city to listen to books on tape, getting on Headspace, meditating on the train. And I mean, if I show you my list of books that I've listened to, it's just... And what you're seeing now is basically just a culmination of all of the positive thoughts and all the positive reading that I've been doing, and beating my own fucked up thinking up mentally, so that these fucked up thoughts don't happen anymore. But you know what? It's like you have to develop tools over time to battle this. You have to challenge your thinking. You've got to, when those fucked up thoughts come into your head, you have to say, well, is that the truth? Is this reality? But I mean, it's hard for me to just pinpoint one spot.
It's always a combination of the things.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this lately. I mean, there's no magic pill to anything.
You got to find out what works for you.
Yeah, and it's a combination of things. So you're listening to all these books. You're working out. You're getting exercise. You're meditating. I know you have a mentor in your life, so you talk to your mentor.
Mm-hmm.
You have a coach in your life as well, so you talk to your coach. Your fitness coach, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm filling up my brain with so much stuff that I don't really have time to think about all of the crap that's caused me trauma over the years. 99% of it, I don't remember, but there's so much knowledge that has been pushed through my head. I'll remember 1-2% of it or whatever. And those are the things that are bullet pointed in my life. But the thing is that you've got to do it. You have to just sit there and listen. You have to do the hard work. You have to get out and do exercise. You got to get out and meditate, get out of the house, hang out with your friends, do the things that matter to you. And those are the things that kind of get me through my day. waking up in the morning and going to the gym and listening to the music that I'm listening to, focusing, trying to stay in the present. You know, that's another big thing too. It's like, focus on what you're doing. Be mindful instead of just thinking about, you know, your fucked up relationship or whatever while you're lifting weights. Think about how the bar feels in your hand. Think about how your feet are planted. Think about what muscles you're engaging. Think about how good it's going to feel once you're done with your workout. Think about the food you're going to eat. It's just like there's so many other things that rewire your brain into thinking more positively instead of always going down that negative rabbit hole of trash thinking.
Yep.
That's helped me. Stinking thinking, right?
Yeah.
But you know, this is the kind of stuff that has kind of pushed me to where I am today. You know, I picked up a couple of championships. I picked up a pro card, and it hasn't just been, okay, you know, do the plan, eat these things, and you get a championship. No, you've got to change your mindset. You have to want to be a better person. It's not just about looking good on stage and having the nicest abs or whatever. It's a mental shift that most people don't understand that happens. That transformation is really the meat and potatoes of fitness, of bodybuilding, at least for me.
What do you think you got the most from winning that pro card, that championship, or the training that led you?
It's the training. It's the training. It's the day in, day out, regimented discipline that you build over the years that basically beats your brain up and forces your brain to think about things in a certain way. You can't think about things that don't serve you anymore. And you know, it's not doing anything for you. Yeah, but she did this and she did that. It's like, fine, she did it. Okay, cool. Acknowledge it and move on to something that you need to be doing. It hurts. That shit hurts because you want to sit there and mull over the crap that you've gone through because it's easy. It's very easy. You know, the hardest part of working out is getting from the couch to the door. You know, just taking that first step. And you know, man,
I know you're talking about fitness and all that, but that can translate to anybody. Just getting out of bed and going to your job, right? It's just as hard as getting out of bed and going to the gym after you've been discarded by a psychopath.
Okay. So I use weightlifting as my crutch, as my therapy, along with the mental side of it, just talking to like-minded people and getting myself to think in more of a recovery sense than a victim mentality. So with that goes lifting. That's just what I use. You know, you could use guitar playing, you can use bike riding, you can use whatever, walking, yoga. It doesn't matter. But the point is, you have to do something. You got to do something. Art. There has to be some kind of expression. Work. Get immersed in your job. If you don't have a job, find one. But the thing is, you can't sit around and just dirt because you don't get anything from it.
And you definitely don't want to sit around hoping that you can get back together with the psychopath.
It's like putting shit back in your ass. I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
Like, maybe she'll love me. It's like, no, dude, if I couldn't even imagine going back with my narcissist. Like, I got a glimpse of her recently through somebody else's story on Instagram, through a friend of a friend of a friend. And they were like, hey, isn't this your ex? And I was like, yeah, what the fuck? She's still doing the same thing that she was doing 20 years ago. Like, still partying, like pretending like she's hot shit at some pool party. But here's the kicker. What struck me as crazy is that her now boyfriend looked like ass. I'm sorry, her now husband looked like complete ass. I think he looked like freaking Cuban Pete sitting there making this fucking margarita or something. Like, hey guys, yeah, let's go hang out. Here you go, pouring some shots. I'm just like, dude, what is wrong with you? You're freaking.
You know what's wrong with
You're
him?
40 years old.
He's
Yeah, bro.
He's going through the same shit you went through, and he's doing whatever he thinks he has to do to make her love
to
him.
make her happy. Yeah, poor guy. He's got no balls. Chopped them off.
He doesn't need them because he ain't getting sex. I promise you that. That's not happening. That's not happening.
Oh man.
They all do. They all keep doing the same shit, man. They all keep doing the same shit.
It's pathetic.
They find another victim. You have transcended like from victim to survivor to warrior. This is a motherfucking warrior right here. He looks like a fucking warrior, you know. But it took work, and I remember the days because we were both in a really dark place. When I like to say I discarded my psychopath, even though obviously she kind of made me do it. She put me in a position that I couldn't like not dump her. But we were both, Brian and I were both in a bad place that same weekend. And there's something that you used to tell me. It was like, I'm digging ditches. You would tell me, I'm going to dig ditches today. And every morning I'd get up and he'd be like, you know, do 100 push-ups as soon as you get out of bed. Before you go pee, drop and do 100 push-ups. Just do it because it's going to get blood to your brain and you're just going to feel better. And believe me, I did not want to do that shit, but I would get on my knuckles,
it hurts.
feet up on the fucking bed, and I will pump them out. And I will feel good. And then, yeah, no doubt, then shortly after the anxiety, PTSD, all that shit will kick back in. But it was helpful. It was helpful to get up to bed, to know that my friend was doing something. And it was kind of like an accountability. And at that point, if you remember, none of us knew. We still didn't know that our exes were psychopaths. We were just brain fucked, right? So
it's like Karate Kid. It's like that whole wax on, wax off thing.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I doing this? Well, you just want me to come here and do your chores? Like,
yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
You just got to do the work.
Yeah.
You just got to do the work, you know? And that applies to pretty much to anything. It's a universal law. And maybe you and I had to learn it the hard way. Like, again, I like that fitness has been your thing, because it's not easy to get a pro card. It's not easy. Okay. And a lot of people don't make it time and time again. And I think that had you not gone through this experience, you probably wouldn't have had the fire up your ass to go as hard as you did. And maybe other people look up to you and they're like, how do you do it?
You know what, bro? You know why? I'll tell you, because it's the alternative. It's like, I need to do this or I go back to that. And that sucks.
Sure does.
I don't want to be fucking making margaritas. for my ex's friends or for my ex's friends at the time to make her look good.
Yeah. So you know, there's always a silver lining, and again, I don't wish this trauma upon anybody, because it will stay with you for the rest of your life,
bro. It's the rope. Did I ever talk to you about I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did. Did I ever talk to you about the RoboCop complex?
No, but why don't you share with the rest of us?
So the RoboCop complex, anybody's ever seen RoboCop, classic 80s movie. He's a badass. He's a badass cop. Nobody can mess with him. He's a freaking robot. His aim is badass. Like he's very methodical about fighting crime. And the way he got there is that he was destroyed by a group of thugs. Like they blew him to pieces. They shot his hand off. They shot his arm off. They shot both of his legs off. They pumped his body full of rounds, and they finally shot him in the head. And he was barely brain dead. And then they decided to take him in and refit him with a robotic body, and he became a badass because of it. So I look at where I am today kind of like RoboCop. I was just, a normal cop, whatever. And all of a sudden went through this traumatic experience, went through this transformation, and came out fucking bulletproof. But I had to go through that freaking trauma of getting shot up by thugs to be where I am. And that's something that, you know, that doesn't get rid of you. Sorry, it's something you don't get rid of. It's just
Yeah, it's a part of you. If you remember,
it's part of you.
In the movie, Murphy had trauma.
He had flashbacks.
He had flashbacks, and I can't say that he was probably he missed his family. He had those flashbacks of his family and all those things. Those are the cards he was dealt with. But look what he became. You know, he became RoboCop, and he was able to do amazing shit after that and save a lot of people's lives and not be dead. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I tell everybody.
I mean, do I miss my life before the trauma? Absolutely. Do I miss Brian before he was fucked? Yeah, to an extent. But man, the stuff that I've done in the last, it's some from recovery, travel the world, you know, winning shows. I've gone through 3 bikes already. I've got another dog. I'm living, you know, I'm living a healthy life. And a happy life with a decent job. And, you know, I've got good quality friends around me that count on me for shit. I'm accountable. So I wouldn't trade it. It's just, you know, I had to go through it. I had to go through that crap to get here. And do I wish it upon anybody? No, because it sucks and it hurts. But you know what? Like, that's how steel gets hardened. You know, you just keep pounding it and pounding it and pounding it. And throw it in the water, pull it out, heat it up, pound it, and you come out a tough motherfucker.
Hell yeah, man. I love it. I love it. Well, man, thanks for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. I hope
anytime.
I hope you guys can relate. It has nothing to do with whether it's female psychopath or male psychopath. It's the same pattern. It's the same trauma. It's the same tortures, same abuse. And it's the recovery.
The recovery, as I was about to say, the recovery is the same. You know, it's whatever you choose to do to get out of it that's healthy for you, that doesn't screw up your thinking, because you're going to have to reprogram your brain, and you know that's the hard part.
If you were to offer one piece of advice, those listening at home that have just recently been discarded and they're still in that brain fog state, they're still in that Stockholm syndrome, trauma bond state where they haven't blocked the psychopath. They're still hoping that they're going to get back together. They're still trying to figure out answers, and they're in that state of limbo. What would you say would be the most important thing that can help people accelerate and get on that path like you did?
Do something for no, it's fine. Do something for yourself instead of for that other person. Do something that you like to do. Do something that you enjoy and that you're passionate about. And if you don't know what you like to do, find something, anything. There has to be something you like to do. But yeah, you've got to do something for you. You've got to be relentless about yourself and your own recovery.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I don't think it will be that difficult to find something for people to do, because the narcissist tends to stop you from doing the things you love. So just remember the things that you used to love before you married them, or you
well, that's just it.
Pick from the list.
Narcissists have a tendency to find people that are already awesome. Because they need that supply. They need that, like that cool vibe or whatever from that person. And, you know, you start losing it over time. It's like, you know, you stop. I used to draw when I was married, and I stopped after blah, blah, blah. It's like, pick something up that you used to love to do. You gotta, the phrase is unfucking yourself. Yeah. You've got to do the things that you love to do before you got fucked. And I think you could use that for one piece of advice. Do the things you do. Do the things that you did before you got fucked.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Brian.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to the show today. I know it was very long. But thanks for sticking it out. If you made it to the end, I do have a free ebook I like to give out for the community. Just click the link below, and it's a 5 steps on going no contact with a psychopath narcissist, so that you can start eliminating these motherfuckers from your life, so that they don't infiltrate you anymore, they don't text you anymore, they don't get in the way of your recovery. Because as long as they're hoovering, as long as they're weaseling their way back into your life, it's stagnating your growth, your recovery, and it pretty much sends you back to day 0 of that discard again. So definitely check that out. And as always, if you'd like to work directly with me, I do offer one-on-one private coaching. It's a similar scenario like this over Zoom. I have a link below with more details if you'd like to set something up in private. Get you guys back on that path where you used to be before you got into this bullshit, toxic relationships. As usual, thanks for the support. Subscribe if you haven't already. You know the deal. If you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. Brian, thanks again for taking the time tonight to share your incredible story and
absolutely
your strength and your hope. And you've definitely inspired me, and you continue to inspire me. So thanks again, buddy.
I'm touched. You're welcome.
All right, my man.
Peace.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you next time.